The East Course of the Kasumigaseki Country Club is a private club in Saitama. It is one of Japan's most prestigious golf courses and has hosted many tournaments over its history. In 1929, Kasumigaseki opened with the East Course. The course was designed by 5 members, including Kinya Fujita, who learned to play golf in New York and at Columbia University. In 1931, that's 2 years later, C.H. Allison, a famed British architect, renovated the East Course. Kasumigaseki Country Club was the country's very first 36-hole golf club, with its West Course opening in 1932. 8 years later, golf was banned in Japan because of World War II. 8 holes were sold for farmland to raise funds during these tough times. The funds were necessary to run this club during wartime. One of many changes that occurred to this revered course over time is the requisitioning by Japanese military troops to conduct their own army maneuvers. The club closed in 1945, and later that year was requisitioned by the U.S. Air Force for nearly 7 years before they finally released it back to its original owner, after 9 holes were reclaimed from each of their course's 18-hole layouts at different times, since 1946 when play resumed on some grounds. A new West Course opened 2 years later, and the club became a 36-hole course once again. Finally, in 2016, the classic East Course was lengthened by 500 yards and deep bankers to challenge long hitters, with its renowned double greens converted into single greens. In the Olympics, golf returned 5 years ago. To design a course for the competition, they created a new one that had never been used before. This time, they'll take on this old favorite in Japan that has been around nearly 100 years and is one of their oldest courses. It's also where it all began, the country's desire for the game. The 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo will be held at this private venue, and it is highly anticipated that our most skilled athletes from around the globe will compete here as well. The world's greatest women golfers are about to take on the exclusive East Course of Kasumigaseki Country Club, which only recently granted membership rights to female players. Kasumigaseki Country Club is not your average golf course. They have hosted a number of high-profile competitions, and this year they will be hosting the 2020 Tokyo Olympics golf tournament. Here are 4 things to know about Kasumigaseki Country Club before you tee off on their East Course. 1. The country's champion. Hideki Matsuyama is the first Japanese man to win one of golf's major championships. He won this year's Masters tournament and now owns a green jacket and is in search of an Olympic medal at Tokyo 2020, which would make him Japan's greatest athlete ever. Upon his triumphant return to the homeland, Matsuyama earned himself an award and will have eyes on him at the Olympic competition. 2. The 1957 Canada Cup. The success of Japanese golfer Matsuyama isn't the first time Kasumigaseki Country Club contributed to the fame of the game in Japan. The East Course hosted the first major international golf tournament played in Asia in 1957. In preparation, they covered their greens with bales every night leading up to and during the time period hosting the event, at which point those coverings were removed each morning. 32 men teams arrived at Kasumigaseki for this historic moment, which was one of many important events that would shape modern Japan's history forevermore. 3. The Allison Impact. Charles Hugh Allison is known as the father of Japanese architecture because he had a hand in designing many courses. When Allison first saw Kasumigaseki, he was impressed with the course's view, but said it needed better greens and bunkers. Allison's assistant, George Penlace, started working on the renovation project and in no way served as site assistants, which allowed him to experience firsthand Allison's philosophy. Allison's large, steep-faced bunkers are still called Allison bunkers in the country because they remain closely associated with his design. His eye-catching bunkering, often severely large and deep in equal measure, can call for courageous shots. Peter Pugh and Henry Lord wrote about him. Allison was only in Japan for a few months in 1930, but he designed and renovated several courses, and his legacy is still felt in Japan to date. 4. The Olympic Course. Tom Fazio, an architect and designer for Kasumigaseki East Course in Japan, set out to modernize it. His son Logan helped him with his extensive renovation, which included a single green on each hole as well as lengthening some of the golf course's features. Kasumigaseki now has 2 different types of greens, bent grass for the greens and zoysia for the rest of their course. The humid weather and rainy season in Japan during the Olympics will create soft course conditions. The Olympic golf course East Course of the Kasumigaseki Country Club is one of only 2 courses in Japan that has ever hosted an Olympics. This year's tournament will be one of the most exciting sporting events in Olympic history. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more content such as this. Be on the lookout for our next video. Until then, take care.